The Tennessee Titans signed Tony Pollard, but that wasn't the only move that Ran Carthon and Brian Callahan were able to produce to get some players into Nashville and hopefully spice up this Titans team heading into 2024. We appreciate you watching Titans Today here. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and well, we got all the signings right here for you, with the first one being Chidobe Awuzie, the 3-year, $36 million deal with $23 million guaranteed. There was a few teams that were after Awuzie, but he was interested in joining former Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan in Tennessee to help set the culture there. Now, this is interesting because, well, Awuzie is not an offensive player, but this is still a very good signing for a couple of different reasons. One of those we'll probably have to wait a little bit to talk about because, well, we lost somebody, and that's why Awuzie kind of fits the bill. But for the most part here, you're trying to really up that secondary and up this defense in a lot of different facets. Awuzie is the perfect fit, and one that, again, he wants to help set the culture at Tennessee, which I find intriguing because we know that Brian Callahan had a strong influence on every Cincinnati Bengal he touched in his time with Cincy. But the fact of the matter is, this is a defensive player that says, I saw the culture that Brian Callahan had. I want to be a part of that. So that makes me believe, who else is going to come join us? Now, you have the T. Higgins rumors about him being potentially traded. What if the Titans made a move for him to try and bring in the Bengals' star receiver, in my opinion? I know that. Jamar Chase is obviously the star-er, whatever you want to call it. But this is a good signing for Chidobe because you get him with 6 pass breakups, no interceptions, 1 forced fumble over the past year, 57 tackles. But Awuzie was in a struggling Bengals defense, 31st in the National Football League. All things considered, though, you get him in a really decent deal, and over the past 4 seasons, been pretty good. Had the Cowboys season back in 2020, the past 3 years spent in Cincinnati, having 14 pass breakups back in 2021, 2 interceptions that year as well. Hopefully he can kind of return to that kind of facet in his career in multiple different ways. But the signing as a whole, to me, was something that, well, Ran Carthon kind of talked about. He knew that the efforts to improve the team had to start in a couple different positions. The first one was offensive line, which they signed somebody else that we'll talk about momentarily. But for Chidobe, it was being able to increase the secondary that struggled later in the season. And I think the biggest thing behind this was, well, he's a proven guy. He's someone who has been on multiple different teams and performed on multiple different teams. Now, obviously, this isn't like a crazy signing. You're not signing, somebody in a huge name man. You're not getting Saquon Barkley or Kirk Cousins. But I still think this is a really, really good signing for the Tennessee Titans. I want you to grade it for me, A, B, C, D, or F. What do you think here for Awuzie? What are we grading this signing? A, B, C, D, or F? Time to get back in school. Let me know down in the comments section. I'm curious to see what you think. We needed this. I think the Titans obviously were struggling in the secondary, and it didn't help that they also lost somebody in the secondary today, as well as the Arizona Cardinals. They agreed to terms with quarterback Sean Murphy-Bunting, the former second-round pick of the Buccaneers, heads to the desert after a year with the Titans. Now, Bunting had a pretty good year last year, and there was the question to bring him back or not. He had 57 tackles, 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakups in a secondary that was not good in multiple different facets. We've talked about him on the show before, and you know my opinion that I kind of wanted the Titans to keep him. I'm not going to lie. I wanted them to honestly bring him back, have him back on the squad. But given you're getting Awuzie here, I don't mind this at all. But obviously, Cardinals just outbid you. I think that's probably what happened. I assume Ran Carthon and Brian Callahan went to Sean Murphy-Bunting and said, here's our offer. He probably said no, got a better offer from competing teams, that being the Arizona Cardinals. And well, from here on out, he's going to be in the desert. Now, obviously, there are still a lot of things left to be done because that wasn't just the one thing they needed to do. The offensive line was also in turmoil all year long. And well, they helped out their offensive line by signing somebody who was regarded as one of the best centers on the market this year. So we'll tell you who that is and why I think this can honestly be the biggest signing of the day for the Tennessee Titans. But before that, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, man. We got the best Titans free agency coverage on YouTube. So with that subscribe button, because it's not done. This was just day one. We're going to have multiple things happen over the next couple days, and obviously when these signings become official on Wednesday, we'll have those all officially reported and kind of update you on the cap space issues, or rather not issue, but the way the Titans are going to go about all of that. So hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/Titans Today. If you're on laptop, scroll down, little red subscribe button, click that, bang, you're a part of our channel. If you're on your phone, you're watching like this, boop, twist it, and then go down, little red subscribe button, click it, and bang, you're a part of the fastest growing Titans channel on YouTube. Let's talk about this Lloyd Cushenberry deal, as it's 4 years, $50 million, and set several records for centers, including a signing bonus of over $18 million, fully guaranteed of $26 million, and first-year cash of $20 million per source. Now, this is a front-loaded contract, which I don't mind, because Cushenberry is one that I could see being with the Titans for the next couple years. This past year in Denver, he had over 1,000 snaps, a PFF grade north of 70, only allowed 1 sack, and then the big thing, not a lot of penalties, not a lot of hits, not a lot of hurries for playing that amount of snaps in a Broncos quarterback room that was rotating. So didn't always have the same guy behind you, and as a center, sometimes that can throw off your signing. Now, if we look at the Titans' offensive line depth chart before today, we see Andre Dillard, we see Peter Skoronski, Aaron Brewer, who honestly was one of the better guys on this line yet last year. But guess what? He's going to get replaced by Cushenberry, who will take over for that center duties. And then Chris Hubbard at the right tackle. Daniel Brunskill will also have a good part to probably be a starter again. Lots of different things to kind of look at in this from a Titans offensive line perspective, but I still think that you're going to draft Joe Alt, though, at pick number 7. Why? Because his offensive line was not just one player away from being good. That's not what it was. Now, is Joe Alt going to come in here and fix it? I don't know if he'll be the one to fix it, but the fact is you have a second-year Peter Skoronski, you have a Lloyd Cushenberry, who is highly regarded as the top center on the market, and you have a Joe Alt, who is supposed to be an all-pro guy in his first year. That's what people are labeling him as one of the most sure things in the draft this year. So if you combine those 3 guys and you're able to really formulate an offensive line behind them, I think that it could be a good season for Tennessee and Will Levis, and a lot of things could ultimately fall in place. I like the Tony Pollard signing, and the big thing with Tony P, guess what? You needed somebody to block for him, because it doesn't matter who you have in the backfield. If there's nowhere to run, doesn't matter. And Tony P had some interesting years with the Cowboys. I'm curious to see how he kind of fits in with Tajay Spears and the rest of this Titans offensive group. All right, so the 3 signings today: Tony Pollard, Lloyd Cushenberry, and Chidobe Awuzie. Now, we look at this and we think, okay, who's the biggest one? Well, I kind of think it's Lloyd Cushenberry in a lot of different facets, because the offensive line was really needing some help. I like the Tony Pollard signing. I think that's the most flashy name in terms of all this, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Tony Pollard is going to change the game. Lloyd Cushenberry could change the game for the Tennessee Titans. Chidobe Awuzie could honestly change the game for a lot of different reasons. And I think if you look at this, it's a good day for Carthon and Callahan. Both Ran and Brian were able to really formulate a pretty good plan going into this. Again, the Titans have a lot of money. I kind of expected a little bit more flashy moves, but at the same time, I think that Ran is more or less trying to make this a team that's set up for the future. Not something that you just get right now. It's something that you get for the future. And I think signing Awuzie, signing Cushenberry, signing Pollard, both the multiple years, guess what? It's going to set you up for success over the next couple years. Now, with Will Levis, you have a top 7 draft pick. You're going to have a pretty good team in 2024. You want to make sure that you put yourself in the best, put your best foot forward, I think is the best way to say it. And on top of which, you're in an AFC South that is really, really good. The Texans doing a lot of things with C.J. Stroud. Obviously, the Jaguars getting Mac Jones yesterday, and then today signing Gabe Davis. The AFC South is moving. And the Titans, you don't want to be left behind. Had a lot of free agents signed today, but is there someone that is still available that you want to see in Nashville tomorrow or throughout the next couple days? Well, here's your time. Get in the comment section. Name a free agent you want to see in Tennessee that maybe you didn't get to see on today's free agency list. Hit that subscribe button, Titans fans. We're still putting out great content here, and we're trying to get more and more to you as we go on. And obviously, free agency helps us out. A little 2-video day for you. Nice time. We appreciate you watching, and say it with me in the comments. You know it, you love it. Titans fans, tighten up, and peace out.